Episode 2 picks back up in Jaclyn and Kate's villa, where the two longtime friends indulge in a patronizing yap session about Laurie, who, as you may recall, is tucked away in her own separate bungalow. Here, we glean some facts about Laurie's life. She's recently divorced. She lives in New York. She was never made partner at her law firm, and she has a daughter named Ellie who throws furniture. We also learn that this trio of childhood besties may not be as close as they like to portray, or even as they may have convinced themselves to believe. Come morning, the girls head to breakfast, where they're seated right next to the Ratliffs. Kate recognizes Victoria. Apparently they once spent a weekend together celebrating a mutual friend's baby shower. She makes the mistake of stopping by the Ratliff table to say hello to Victoria, who vacantly stares back at her as if she were speaking a different language. The whole interaction is painfully awkward to watch. And when her coldness eventually scares off Kate, even the Ratliff kids absorb some of the secondhand embarrassment. Lochlan can't help but deride his mother for her social blunder. "We met at a baby shower 10 years ago," Victoria retorts. "So what? Who cares? If the whole purpose of this resort is to shed the stresses of non-vacation life, then maybe Victoria's standoffish reaction to Kate isn't entirely misguided. Who really wants to make small talk over the breakfast buffet?" After eating, the whole gang dives into their personalized treatment schedules, ranging from Lochlan submerging himself in a water deprivation tank to Saxon repulsing his masseuse by making no effort to hide his hopes for a happy ending. Poor Piper, taking an outdoor yoga class, can't seem to catch a break. Loser back home keeps sneaking creepy glances at her in between Warrior 1 and downward-facing dog. Even Rick is taking part in a treatment, though it's against his will. Chelsea signed him up for a stress management session with Amrita, but by the end of the session, it seems like Amrita will be the one in need of a massage. "Can you remember a time in your life when you were totally free of stress?" she asks Rick. Bluntly informs her that his mom was a drug addict who overdosed in front of him when he was 10 years old. So yeah, he really can't recall a stress-free moment. When she gently suggests he try meditation, Rick deadpans. "I don't need to detach. I'm already nothing." At least Belinda is having a better start to her day. Her work exchange program kicks off with a relaxing foot soak from Pornchai. When the time comes for her to return the favor, he enters the massage room wearing nothing but his briefs. "How would you like me?" Shirtless Pornchai asks. Belinda blurts out. The hard eyes continue with Mook and Gaitok, who are having lunch together, courtesy of food prepared by Gaitok's mom. Gaitok decides to confess his feelings, logically laying out his case for why they should be together. For one, their families know each other. Her brothers like him, and they're from the same town. For another, he knows that she's smarter than him. A pretty solid argument, if you ask me. Unfortunately for lovesick Gaitok, his well-reasoned case isn't enough. Mook laughs the whole thing off and essentially tells him to shut up and keep eating. But of course, in a very mindful and very demure way. At the beach, Jaclyn, Laurie, and Kate reconvene after completing biomarker tests with the resort's resident hunk employee, Valentin. What starts as an innocent test result comparison quickly snowballs into a peacock contest. Jaclyn gloats about her hydration levels, Laurie touts her fat mass numbers, and both women proudly share that Valentin told them they have the numbers of someone half their age. That last fact doesn't seem to sit well with Jaclyn. In fact, not besting Laurie in any category seems to grind her gears. Maybe Jaclyn's fame has sharpened her superiority complex, emboldening her competitive and narcissistic streak, as Laurie and Kate later note. Or maybe Jaclyn's marriage to a man 10 years her junior, who's always getting hit on, has just done a number on her self-esteem. Lochlan and Piper are chatting in sea hammocks after their respective treatments when Lochlan spills the beans about Saxon's insightful comments on Piper's chastity from the day before. Specifically, Saxon speculates that his younger sister is a virgin, even though, as he puts it, she could probably get some because she's hot. That opened a can of worms. By the looks of it, Piper feels violated. She immediately swims away from her brother, visibly appalled. Honestly, something weird is happening with the Ratliff siblings, and I'm not quite sure I want to find out what it is. Meanwhile, Chelsea and Chloe are splurging on a shopping spree with Gary's credit card. Chelsea is about to try on a serpent necklace when a masked burglar storms in, gun in hand. The thief shatters a glass jewelry case and stuffs his backpack full of valuables before fleeing. He's momentarily slowed down by Gaitok, who tries to stop his SUV from ramming through the barrier arm. The robber responds by hitting Gaitok in the head with the butt of his gun before making his escape. Humiliating? Maybe. But the attack ultimately works in Gaitok's favor, because now Mook is by his side, offering sympathetic arm rubs and fluttery wide eyes. Maybe he'll get that date after all. The near-death experience, as Chelsea later calls it, also unexpectedly benefits her relationship with Rick. Seemingly moved by guilt, Rick is suddenly exhibiting patience and kindness toward Chelsea for the first time. He even tosses her a consolatory babe here and there. As day 2 wraps up, Timothy finally gets a hold of Kenneth Nguyen, who sounds like he's on the verge of a breakdown. The reason? A Husagent FBI raid on his office. I didn't think some whistleblower bitch in my office was going to rat me out to the media, Kenny squeaks through the phone. Is Timothy implicated? Well, facing money laundering and bribery charges feels so unfair, Timothy laments, because all he got out of it was $10 million. Pity. Unbeknownst to Timothy, Gaitok is watching the entire conversation unfold from the shadows of his security office. And you know what they say about things done in darkness. They always come to light.